their all-time greatest goal kicker, Taylor Walker, with a welcome off. Here's Roselli. Roselli kicks the goal.
Handball to the excitement machine, McLeod. Left foot goal.
Oh, don't tell me.
He's a superstar.
Don't tell me. Oh! He's yet to kick an AFL goal. Oh, the velvet curtain.
Walker, oh, he's a colossus. He's kicked 5. He's been a handful. He's been the difference.
To cover himself in glory.
Just coming back.
And got there.
Hawk for the
Welcome to this week's episode of the Proper Crows podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you're watching or listening right now. Thank you for your continued and ongoing support. Today, we're going to be going through the win against Richmond from Sunday afternoon. Of course, looking forward to our game with North, your feedback, and much, much more. Not just myself here tonight. I am joined by Dill. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good. Another week of footy gone past. Another win, 4 from 5. So starting to get a little bit of confidence back.
Yeah, starting to get rolling a little bit, somewhat, sort of. We'll break that down in a second. Matt, as well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Obviously, very disappointing performance against Richmond, but to bank another 4 points in what's been a very good run of form overall, the last 5 games, I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And we'll go to the score straight off. It was, it was slightly worrying for a half of footy, but we somewhat got going in the end. What was the score, mate?
So it was 14-14, 98 to 9-7, 61. So a little 37-point win there. So we had Neil Bullen with 2, Rankin with 2, Thilthorpe 1, Rankin 1, Pedler 1. Oh, fuck. There's a few goal scorers here. Holy shit. Toby Murray, Keys, Curtin, Cumming, Dawson, McAndrew, and Nick Murray, always singles. So a little bit of a spread this week.
Yeah, it was a bit better in that sense. Obviously, coming into the team, we had Nick Murray and Dawson coming back and Butts and Walker on the way out. Do we want to just start off by the fact that we had a shit first half again and didn't come out of the blocks and let an undermanned shit team just go all over us for the first half? Or is that where we want to start?
Well, it's the 8th game in a row now. We've not led at quarter time. We did finally break the trend of losing at quarter time, so there's a positive if there is one. But it was just another embarrassing slow start, and you just cannot relax with this team, even when you're playing teams like Richmond. I mean, we got games against Kangaroos, who are obviously a much better team, coming up. We still got to play West Coast in Perth. We play Essendon later in the year, so there's still probably 1 or 2 chances we can get a relaxing win this year, but it's not looking likely when you can play such a poor, really, really poor style of football against a very injury-prone and injury-riddled Richmond side who had about 18 players out. It's virtually the VFL team. And it was just another horrendous start to a game, as we've touched on. And like, if we start like this against North Melbourne, I don't think it's going to be game over because the way we finish games has been pretty strong. But it's almost like, what is the point of him rocking up for the start of the game if we're just going to continue playing like this? It's doing my head in. I'm sure it's doing everyone who watches the Crows head in, not just even Crows fans. The media, the commentators, everyone is just saying the same thing. Where has our dominating football gone? It's hideous to watch. I think there's a reason we probably won't get many primetime games second half of the year. It's just we're not a watchable team.
Yep, not wrong at all. Dilbert, what were your thoughts on the start? It was not great.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. It's turning into a little bit of a broken record. It's just boring, stagnant. It's just shit football to watch, really. And then you watch other teams play, and it's like, why can we not play this football? I just don't understand. It is. I think the mixture's there, and of what you need to do. You move forward with the football, you handball forward, and you're fine. Like, it just, I know we keep sort of raging on about this stat, but we had 111 handball meters gained on the weekend. That is nothing. Sydney had 856. We haven't even. We're struggling to hit that through the entire season. It's just nuts. It's just gotten to a point where it's like, I don't understand what we're doing. Like, when we did go forward with the football, like, well, this is what happens.
Yeah.
We split them. It was easy. We're hitting someone on the tip. I just don't get it. It's really, really hard to watch at the moment, and it's it's starting to really frustrate me.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you summed it up perfectly in the sense where
Yeah.
you look at us in the third quarter and, well, not the whole of the last quarter. The start of the last quarter wasn't great, but the whole third quarter, you watch us playing that free-flowing footy and a bit of movement. And yes, granted, we're playing against the 18th team in the competition who've only won one game and injury decimated and whatever more you say, but you should be playing like that regardless of your opposition. And you can see when we move the ball quickly, we look a 10 times better team. But for some reason, we have a reluctance to do that early. You know, we start yesterday by chucking Jordan Dawson behind the ball. Credit where credit's due. Isaac Rankin took 75% of the CBAs yesterday, so that was good. We've been calling out for that for a while, but there's just no speed. There's no movement. There's no dare or flair or excitement in our game, but it's hard to watch. And then you go down by 10 points at halftime to Richmond of all teams. Like, really?
It was reminiscent of that game 20 years ago when I did mention it last week. I said the last time we were such long odds, Richmond was such long odds to beat us was in that game, and I'm thinking at half time it's like fuck me, I wasn't overly nervous because I just like the trajectory we've been going on this year is we just start slow, get a run on, probably lead by 4 or 5 goals, and then still will allow the opposition to come back. But we did put the foot down in the last quarter. Inevitably, the cream always rises to the top. Players like Toby Murray stepped up with I thought he was really good. His tackling pressure was unreal. And Darcy Fogarty, thank you for your services. That's another thing. But I think he, along with some of the other guys that have come in, have looked pretty decent. And I think even players like James Borlas, and obviously you guys know I'm not a fan of him at all, but his last 3 games I think he's been one of our better defenders. He's locked down Tom Lynch, kept them to 1 goal. So yeah, there were some promising signs, but overall team performance was horrific. Take out the likes of Rankin, Dawson, Miller, Rory Laird, the much maligned Rory Laird from some, who had a fantastic game, I thought. But yeah, overall, just a huge drop off in form for a lot of those guys that should be playing much better.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think let's just jump to the positivity. We're not just going to talk about slow starts again for 40 minutes like we have for the last 6 weeks. We may as well we'll move on to some positivity. You mentioned his name there, Matt. Isaac Rankin had 33 touches, kicked a snag, 10 marks, 9 tackles, 4 clearances, almost 700 metres gained. It was just a 5-star performance. There was nothing to fault. And if you were fortunate enough to have AFL fantasy as well, you'd be pretty happy with the performance too. But it was just dominant all over the park. And look what happens when you chuck him in the middle. And yeah, we had a bit of a scare halfway through the last, but that was just a bit of tightness, so it was all right, and a bit of cramp. But he's a star. Keep him through the guts. We need that excitement, that speed. Everything that he provides is exactly what we're lacking through there, I think.
100%. And I just don't understand why you can't have him and Rush through there. Like, Rush did the exact same thing against, Geelong. And that midfield. I don't get it. Like, people say they haven't got the defensive attributes, but maybe you challenge them and say, bring that defensive pressure as well. Maybe if you challenge these boys, like, this is what we need. This is what you can bring, forward of the football, but we also need to have this, back of the contest, back behind the football. Then you might see something really exciting. Like, I just don't understand why we're not seeing them both run through there, because they've now both had these big, I wouldn't call them breakout games, but they both had these games where, like, whoa, we can, this is what we've got, that we're capable of. So it's still a little bit frustrating. But no, Isaac was great, and I think it was a really good move as well to put Dawson back behind the football, because he was still getting involved in the midfield. He just wasn't starting in those center bounces. But I think there's still a little bit of an issue with playing him behind the football, because he's that sort of ball that will win first possession. So we had a massive gap into stats on Sunday. Like, Richmond doubled our first possession out of the contest. Nearly doubles, 42 to 23. We still won clearance, but against a good team, if you're allowing first possession, you're going to get absolutely fucking destroyed through there, as we saw Brisbane do to us. They absolutely decimated our midfield, because, those good teams, you can't give first possession to, because if they're clean and hit that pack, bang, you're gone. And we're just not quick enough to chase, and we haven't got that defensive pressure backside of the contest, to be able to compete with that. So that's probably the one thing that sort of stands out, not having Dawson in there. But if you are able to sort of mix it with the best and getting, hands-on football first, then I think we'll be okay in that department. It's not as much of an issue as what I think people are making it out to be.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think the attacking flair is obviously
Mm.
something that we're missing at the moment. And we've clearly seen our scoring prowess go down. So anything that we can get to get the ball going forward and, just the quickness behind the ball is the bit that I think is what we're really lacking. And that ability to just give those quick hands really quickly and chuck it on the boot to out of the middle and get it forward. It's so frustrating. I think, was it the first play of the third quarter when Riley Thilthorpe took a mark straight from clearance?
I think so, yeah. And
I think
then he missed a set shot. I think it was not that particular moment. I think maybe 2 minutes later, missed a set shot. And look, we can talk about this regularly until he gets a rest. He does need a rest. I think he was still clunking some marks and looked a little bit more solid in that department. But another 1-goal game, it's just very disappointing. And look, when we have players like Tex and Fogarty who are unavailable at the moment, I think Fogarty's out for. Well, he's back in the sample, so there's a chance he probably comes back in.
Yep.
Yeah, look, I think we have a bye in a month's time. I would still probably ride with Thilthorpe until then, just unless he is gets considerably more underdone than he already is. But yeah, it's a bit of a worry. Him and along with Saligo as well, they just did not look like they were out there to play football. Don't look 100%, not even 50% to be fair.
Yeah. Look, I think it's clear with Thilthorpe that he's carrying some sort of injury. You can tell when he goes for the ball, he's not extending his arms all the way out. They're just not. He's just not himself. You can tell. And I mean, he still did take 5 marks yesterday. He still had 12 touches. He had 4 scoring shots. So he was still, he's still got a prowess about him, and he's still there and a presence. And obviously, a man that big sitting in the forward line is always going to provide you with something, but if he's underdone and we have options to replace him, which I think is the key point as to why he's still out there, you'd hope that he gets some rest and can come back and be that player that he was last year in the second half of the season. Don't know if you boys heard on Triple M this morning, but Tex was talking up his chances to come back this week, and I don't think that'll be happening by any means. But yeah, he does need a rest at some stage, obviously, and whether that's Fog coming in or someone else, I'm not sure, but he needs it.
Yeah, look, but I think I think David King said it perfectly. Like you can only judge him on him being out there. If he's out there, he's fit.
Yep.
So I think us fighting behind this a bit, this sort of smoke screen of he's not fit, I think a little bit of a cop out maybe. If he's out there playing, then we can only judge what we're seeing. Like, but I don't think he should have played this week, as I said last week. But if he's fit, then he's fit. He's playing. He's just out of form.
Yeah,
I think that's the simplest you can put it. But if he's still clunking marks like that, out of form, not fit, then I think the competition should be pretty scared when he's fit and firing again. Because if he's doing this when he's not fit, my lord, once he's up and about, he'll be taking the piss. So just fingers crossed he can get back to that, because we need him to. We do need him fit and firing. We are going to have any sort of mark on this season.
Yeah. No, 100%. And like we said, he's still getting his scoring opportunities, and he's still having 3, 4, 5 shots at goal every game. So I think it's more an issue of him kicking straight as well, because he's been a bit inaccurate. Like if he kicked straight yesterday and he had all of his shots were gettable, if he kicks 4 straight, we're probably sitting here going, yeah, he had a decent game. It's obviously the scoring line can impact what we think about him obviously as well. But hopefully, a decent rest this week. Comes up against the North defence, who aren't fantastic by any means. So hopefully we can give him an opportunity to kick a few, get a bit of confidence back, and just get himself going into the second half of the year, because he needs it.
And just circling back as well to Darcy Fogarty, if he comes straight back in, I'll be sick.
Yeah,
I will be sick.
If he comes in for Toby Murray, I'll be even more sick, because we cannot drop Ibis the way he's been playing. What Ibis is bringing to the table is something Fogarty has never brought to the table: the tackling pressure, running up and down the ground, backing his teammates. And the commentators, they were loving it. They were said the Murray boys have just been laying tackle after tackle all day. It was quite enjoyable. I think it was a boring game, but it had those kind of moments, like the start of the last quarter, holding the ball. Then he kicks a goal. I think he either missed a goal and then he kicked the goals, one or the other. But he was absolutely fantastic in that last quarter. Just the work ethic, the work rate was fantastic to watch. Really do hope he can stay in that team for as long as he possibly can.
Yeah.
If he gains a little bit of muscle, he's going to be an absolute monster.
Mm.
Like his technical skills for the size that he is, like they're very good. You know, the way that he moves around the ground as well is insane. So if he can sort of get his forward craft up a little bit, he's going to be a genuine like a genuine forward who can play second rock.
Yeah.
He's a very, very good footballer. So I'm actually very, very excited to see him come on a little bit. And I think the longer that Darcy's out of a team, I'll be happier. Like no disrespect to Darcy Foggy at all, but he needs his finger pulled out. If he spends 4 to 6 weeks in the sandful and starts kicking bags, I'll be happy to see him come back in. But we can't just sort of expect to be eating these fucking zinger boxes and just walk straight back into the team.
Yeah. No, exactly right. And yeah, back to the Ivers. So he had 9 touches yesterday, but I think his other stats are what are most impressive. So he had a goal, obviously, goal assist, 6 tackles, 2 clearances, obviously a couple of hit outs as well. He was very influential. And I think early in that third quarter and even late in the second quarter, he was very key to us not letting Richmond sort of kick away further. He took a couple of important marks around the ground. His presence was good. Like he's been very, very impressive. Since coming back into the squad after obviously his back injury earlier in the year. Who else have we got that was good yesterday? Wayne Miller is putting forward an incredible year, another 34 touches, 6 marks, a clearance, a couple of tackles for him as well. He was very good. Matt touched on him earlier. I thought Rory Laird had a good game. He's, whether it was harshly criticised by some or not, I'm not going to lean into that narrative, but I thought he was very good yesterday. Cookie had himself another good game.
I thought Zach Taylor was quite good as well, actually. When he quietly sort of plods along, and I think he might be a little bit unlucky this week if Palachi comes back. I think he might be the one that makes way, unfortunately, because sort of looking at this, I don't see anyone else that goes out. Maybe a Jake Saligo, but that sort of just stuffs around a little bit in the midfield mix a bit. But if Saligo does go out, I think Dan Curtin will just take his minutes.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. I think
he was awful on the weekend.
Yeah.
So like he was awful. I don't know what's happened to him. Obviously, a little bit underdone still, but you can't be making that excuse 8 weeks into the fucking season.
Yeah, 8 touches, only had the 2 tackles, 2 clearances. Just, I don't know. I don't have the breakdown of like where he was playing through the game or anything like that, but 8 touches in a full game of footy is, not great.
There's something not going on in the brain department there.
Yeah, something's definitely gone awry for sure.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Are there any other players you boys want to talk about before we head on to some feedback from the listeners?
I'll go with Jordan Dawson, starting the game at half-back and just racking up the ball. Obviously, at half-time, him and Nix had a little discussion and he wanted to play back in the guts. And once he did that, the game turned. So I think it's good to have him playing a role that he is the whole time he's been at the Crows, he's just been inside mid, hasn't really had any versatile roles until the last few games. So, look, I'd much rather him play as an inside mid. I think we all agree. But to have a great leg down back, look, that was actually pretty good, even though we were losing the whole time he was down there.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. The hard part about it is, obviously the hole that he leaves in the midfield and finding someone to fill that gap. But it's exciting to have someone who's, has the ball carrying ability of Wayne Miller alongside Dawson down back, who you can really set up the field on the back of. Obviously didn't work too great yesterday in the first half, but the potential for those two to work together is really exciting, I think, and the speed that they both operate with and, how damaging they can be with their leg is, it's a good combination if we can fill that gap in the midfield for Dawes.
Well, I mean, it would be wishful thinking that we can fill that inside mid role after the poor Sid Draper on the weekend. Absolutely devastating to see what happened there. That could be a lengthy injury. I'm not too sure the seriousness of it all because I haven't seen much of it since it happened. But how unlucky can one player be? I mean, we can bang on about his form in the sandful and maybe not living up to the billing, but when something like that happens, that is just bitter bad luck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll touch on it a bit later in the SANFL, but it is positive news, fortunately, for Sid, so we'll be right there. We'll move on to the feedback from people on Facebook and at Proper Crows Pod. If you want to leave us any feedback after any games or in between, or you want to chuck us a message, or you got some feedback for just us, the pod, whatever it may be, we're open to absolutely everything. And thank you to a couple of people who have shared a bit over the last few weeks. I can't remember your names off the top of my head, but appreciate it a lot. Brad said, lucky for us, we were playing the bottom team. If we play like that next week, North will have a day out. And a number of people have ha-ha reacted that, but I tend to agree with Brad there. If we turn up like yesterday, then we will be going away with our tails between our legs, I think, on Saturday afternoon against North.
Well, North's record against us in Adelaide is identical to our record in Geelong. They've not won against the Crows in Adelaide since 2003, and they've never won at Adelaide Oval against either us or Port Adelaide or in a gather-round game. They haven't won a gather-round game, so it's been, let me work it out, 15 years in general since they last won in Adelaide. That was against Port at Amy Stadium in 2011. So I think if you're a North Melbourne fan living in South Australia or not too far away from Adelaide, you'd be absolutely pumped to play the Crows at this time, because the way we're playing is it's a winnable game for them. I don't think we will lose, but pretty confident we won't be winning at quarter time. The way that they've started games this year and the way we have, I think it's inevitable. If you want to make a quick buck, check those quarter time odds.
While we're talking about North fans, shout out Lavery for anyone who understands that reference. That's a long time chat reference, that one. Hopefully see him on the hill on Saturday afternoon.
Just quickly on that, if you're over the age of 10 years old and have your fucking name on the back of a Guernsey, I won't finish that sentence, but pull your head in.
Yeah, look.
It becomes a regrettable thing. I've made that mistake with a few of my Stoke shirts, so yeah, it is what it is.
I know, but I feel it's a bit different though. Like AFL football and a Stoke shirt, whatever, that's fine. I think that's okay, but
yeah, it's not part of AFL culture. I think I remember we trolled the names on the back of the Guernsey round 5 2014, and then it just looked visually shit, and they never tried it again.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It's okay if your name is like 5 letters long, but anything longer than that, then you're having a bit of trouble when you're putting the font too small and you can't read it and it just doesn't work. But hopefully we never see that ever again. Patsy says, needed a win, a good win. Should boost the morale a tad. Ready for the ruse on your lads. Steve says, a win but nothing to crow about. North Melbourne will be a serious challenge this week. Philip giving Toby Murray his flowers, says he was impressed with him during the game. Absolutely. Julie Bulkwell has posted a photo of Josh Rochelle hanging up a Richmond phone. That's very good gear.
Are Richmond fans finally over what's gone down with Rochelle? Because it's been a lot of...
I don't think so.
Bit too much salt. Maybe too much salt from the fans. I mean, the 200 fans that rocked up to the game certainly weren't happy.
Yeah, 100,000 members, etc., but we were only 22,000 or
22,046.
Yeah,
jeez,
ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. 3 flags in the last 10 years, by the way. Let's go on to our 3-2-1s from the weekend, and look, there are probably 3 or 4 standouts here, so I expect we'll be pretty similar. Matt, I'll start with your one if I can, mate.
I'll give the one to Wayne Miller. I think he's clearly now, with the injury news in his side, he is the best Miller in the league, and he probably will be in serious All-Australian contention by the end of the year, hopefully. And yeah, just another great game of halfback. Really, really composed. My 2 votes go to the much maligned Rory Laird. A lot of people were saying he's finished, he's this, that. Once the game was in Richmond's favour, when Laird started to just cool the game down back, players are just feeding off that energy, and we just looked much more composed once he started racking the ball up in the second half. And I do feel that's when the game did turn in our favour, when cool heads prevailed. And that's what you need. Seasoned leaders with Rory Laird, the ever-reliable Rory Laird, by the way. And for 3, it's an easy one, Isaac Rankin. I think the highest score anyone has had in the AFL fantasy world this year, barring maybe Archie Roberts. But I think it was easily, maybe, not easily Rankin's best game, but I think it'd be in its top 3 best games since he's beaten the Crows. It was just a complete performance, 33 disposals, a goal, just looked absolutely brilliant. And yeah, backed it up with a very nice performance with Guy Sebastian last night.
He did. That was a very good good performance. All the videos of that are great. If you haven't seen them, go to, I think it was Josie and Hazy's Instagram page. They put the full cover of She Will Be Loved by Guy Sebastian and Isaac Rankin, which was very good gear. Dill, give us your 3, 2, 1, mate.
Am I going through all of it or just the one?
Yeah, go to 3.
3. So let's go to 3. So I got 1 vote, Wayne Miller.
Yep.
He was pretty good. I've got Jordan Dawson in at the 2. I think he was just a general back there. And sort of through the middle in the second half. Then I've got Isaac Rankin 3 votes. He was something else yesterday, and hopefully we can see another performance this week from him again. But I think he may get tagged this week. But we'll touch on that in the preview.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mine's exactly the same. Miller 1, Dawes 2, ranks 3, and that's what the standings will be for this week. We should get a updated standings ladder out in a couple of weeks' time. Maybe the bye week will have that around. And I know I said that last year and it didn't come until about 6 weeks after the season, but that's all right. We'll get there this year. Do we have a proper good or a proper crap from this week? I don't know if I've got one, to be perfectly honest with you. There hasn't been a lot.
I'll give 2 proper craps. One involves Crows, one involves Richmond. Proper crap, obviously, another first quarter of absolute shitness. I mean, I said before, do we even bother rocking up to watch the side of the game on Saturday? We're just going to continue playing like this. I mean, it's an early game as it is. I wouldn't mind rocking up after having lunch, relaxing, and just walking in at quarter time, seeing us losing by 2 or 3 goals is normal, and then watch us put them to the sword and enjoy the day. I mean, what more can you say? This is 8 games in a row we've not led at quarter time. 4 of those games were against bottom 8 teams. It is just bitterly disappointing at this point. I think we're due to win the first quarter. Look, I'm going to win $50 if that does actually happen. I mean, no, hang on. Other way around, I lose $50 if that does happen to special guest the other week, Nathan Story, but that's another story. No pun intended. But, it... Yeah, look, that is easily proper crap. The first quarter, embarrassing. The first half in general, embarrassing, but more to the point, to not win at quarter time, embarrassing. And, the other proper crap has to go to the Richmond crowd on Sunday. I think they're fabricating the numbers there a little bit. There was no way 22K, and if there was, it was largely helped by the away fans, so that does help. And it's the very, very feral supporter base towards the end of the game with Josh Rochelle doing the phone celebration. Just an embarrassing reaction. Just accept the L and move on.
Yep. No, 100%. Dill, how about you, mate?
Proper crap I've got here. It goes away from the Crows. It's actually towards a few Carlton fans. We're going to go to Carlton here.
I'm always down for this.
The way that this fucking fan base have been reacting about Michael Voss stepping down. I think he was told either step down or you get sacked. That's what my opinion is anyway. Some of the discourse I've seen from some of their fucking social media today, they've been analysing a list of where they should be, as you normally do when a new coach is coming in. I saw multiple fucking morons say that Ben Ainsworth would play in any 23 in the competition.
Not sure about that.
No. Bullshit. Nuts. And that is why Carlton are in the position they are in right now. They think they are so much better than what they fucking are. And, back in 2022, when I did my little piece to those fucking nut jobs down the bottom of that cheer squad, I will do it all over again because you're a pathetic club. Michael Voss is pathetic. Patrick Cripps is pathetic. Ari Mackay is pathetic. The Hollands boys, they're okay. I don't mind the Hollands boys. Everyone else, they're all pathetic. All pathetic. So the Carlton Football Club, that's my proper crap. They can all fuck off. Proper good is the 8,500 fans that actually travelled over on Sunday. They made more noise than the rest of that fucking nutjob crowd did. So yeah, good on if you got on over there on a Sunday afternoon.
Spare a thought to fellow podcast member Dom to actually endure 2.5 quarters of what he did see on Sunday. I couldn't do it. I don't think many fans could, so fair play.
Yeah.
Yes, I think if I was there, those big fucking 1 litre pint-like beers they have, I think I would have consumed about 9 of them within that first quarter. Yeah.
100%. Proper good. Yeah. Shout out Josh Rochelle actually for calling out the idiot who DM'd him some less than savoury things on Sunday after that celebration. Always, call it out if you see that sort of shit. So no space in not just the game, in the world for it. Not needed at all. Proper crap. Yeah, let's stick down the path of Richmond supporters. They were just grim in the aftermath during the game. Just the booing of Jordan Dawson for a clearly incidental high contact was one of the moments that really stuck with me. Horrible fan base. Hate you. Don't care. Move on. We'll jump into the SANFL next. We went down to Sturt 10-9, 69 to 18-9, 117. Darcy Fogarty kicked 3, Blake Drury and Tyler Welsh both kicked 2, and Archie, Bennett and Jones kicked 1 goal each. We touched on Sid Draper a little bit earlier. Had 6 touches early and was evidently looking very good before a Sturt thug decided to chuck an elbow out and smack him right in the face. Early reports were a bit of worry that he had a broken jaw or a broken nose, but he has avoided any structural damage, so should be okay. Isn't even on the injury list, which is a very positive thing for Sid. I don't know if he played this week or what happened with him, but good to see nothing significant happen to him there. Billy Dowling had a huge game despite the loss. 30 touches, 7 tackles, 7 clearances, 8 inside 50s and 4 rebound 50s. He's just bashing down the door if an opportunity presents itself. Maybe he comes in and replaces Saligo, who knows, but Billy's putting together an all-time season in the SANFL. Who else have we got? Oscar Ryan had a pretty good game. 26 touches, 3 tackles, 5 marks, 5 rebound 50s. Not bad. Lockie Scholl had 25 and a decent stat line. Nank had 20 after his lockjaw incident. I don't know if anyone else saw that.
Yeah.
Stuck in the ER at midnight on Tuesday or Wednesday last week with lockjaw. Charlie Edwards, 18 touches, 5 tackles, 8 clearances, 5 inside 50s. A solid game from him as well. A bloke who I'm pretty excited about, Indy Cotton, had 17 touches, had a tackle, 3 rebound 50s. He's an athletic freak. If he can sort of string a bit together, he's going to be a great utility player. He can sort of play a bit of everywhere, Indy Cotton. Cal Archie, in his return, had 16 touches, kicked a snag. What do we have? 3 tackles, 3 inside 50s, 2 rebound 50s. So, didn't set the world alight or anything like that, but just sort of getting himself back into a bit of fitness after such a long break with the hamstring. So be interested to see whether they give him another week in the twos or put him straight in. Given what he's done this year and the 3 hammies already, I'll probably err on the side of caution and maybe just another week in the twos on some limited minutes. Don't know what you boys think.
He'll play this week.
Yeah.
Yep, he'll play this week. There is zero chance they pay a bloke $1 million a season and sit him in the fucking twos.
Yeah.
It just won't happen. Who are we versing this week? In Central?
We have got Glenelg.
Yeah, they're not sending him down a fucking glider all to play on that fucking piece of shit pitch they've got down there.
A future gather-round venue in their own imaginations.
Yeah, he's not gone to Glenelg. He'll probably be the first one on the team sheet on Thursday night. And if he's not, I'll be very, very surprised, and I'll eat something. I don't know what I'll eat, but I'm nearly certain he'll play on Saturday, and I won't be happy if he's not. We haven't got the affordability to be resting, 2-time premiership players in the fucking Sandful.
Yeah,
it's just not where we're sitting. But then the other way, if Darcy Fogarty plays on Saturday, I'll also be feral as well, because we're slow enough. If we bring another big mud guts in and take out someone like a peddler or something like that, I will be filthy.
Surely
I will
not.
be filthy. Oh, mate, fucking. You know what this coaching staff is like.
Yeah.
You know what they're like. They will make some sort of hideous decision, and they'll play him. Because how many times do we have to say they can't play? Those 3 tools like Toby Murray, McAndrew, Fogarty, and Thilthorpe is too big.
Yeah,
It's way too big. And against a North Melbourne team that just absolutely rebounds off half back, we go McKercher and Caleb Daniel. The ball hits the floor, they're gone. Absolutely gone. You've got a Cam Zerha who's been playing behind the ball now as well, been looking very good. You've got a Harry Sheasel who will drop back into that back 50. You've got a Bill Myers who's been dropping into that back 50. They're too quick. Like, I'm not saying that Griffin Logan, Charlie Comben are world beaters, but if the ball hits the ground, good luck.
Yeah. Probably more so Comben, I think. And
Yeah.
I was talking to Josh from the Further North podcast last night, which people can go and check out later in the week for a preview. They're not sure whether Comben will be playing this week or not. So I don't know if he copped an injury or what happened, but there was a little bit of uncertainty. But he can be a dangerous big man down back. He's sneaky athletic, I think. Give him a chance. Griffin
Yeah.
Logue, probably not the guy that I'd be worried about, or Luke McDonald.
Yeah,
But
no. I don't mind Chom. Chom goes okay, but my concern is if you're playing an Ibis, a Thilthorpe, and a Fogarty in a forward line, if the ball does go to ground, I know that we're quick enough. You know, you've got a Rochelle, you've got a Rankin, you've got a Nibbler, you've got those players there. But at the moment, the way that we're playing our football, we just can't defend back half of the football. If they hit our 50-metre arc and go, we're in all sorts of strife.
yeah,
We are in all sorts of trouble.
Yep.
So, you know, they've been struggling a little bit with going forward with the ball, as the blueprint is this year of how to play. They've also been a little bit down on their handball meters going forward as well. So I'm not super worried about them slicing us up in the contest. But you know, if they get out, we're in trouble. We're in some big trouble. So we'll see. I really hope they make the right decision and leave Fogarty out again.
Yeah. No, I strongly agree. Let's move on to this week's game. So North Melbourne, Saturday afternoon, 12:45 at the Adelaide Oval, the prime time slot for this game. You probably wouldn't expect it to be anywhere else, but looking at it, it should be a good game of footy, depending on which Adelaide Crows come out. I think if we play an attacking brand, we know what we're going to get from North. They're going to get a quick style of game. You know, they've been trying to move the ball fast and, you know, scoring relatively well. Probably not getting the results on the scoreboard that they potentially could have against, you know, Sydney and GWS, and they've pushed a couple of other teams. But they're a more dangerous team, and let's not go into this thinking that they're the North Melbourne from the last 2, 3, 4 years that have, you know, been complete cellar dwellers, and we're going to go out there and win by 10
You
goals.
could even go back 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
You know, probably back to 2016, really.
Yeah, pretty much since they played in that last finals. Yeah, better list than us, by the way. Thanks, David King. In 2020.
Yeah.
But what are we thinking, boys? Obviously, it's a bit hard to predict which Crows are going to turn up. Whether we're going to play that defensive, scrappy, disgusting style we have been. If we're going to try and move the ball, what's going to happen? But what do you reckon? Where's the game won and lost?
I think we will trail at quarter time, as I said before, but I think we'll get a move on, probably by half time be in front, third quarter be fairly even, and then we'll run away with it. So I'll say the Crows to win by 15 points in a bit of a slogfest. I mean, it's going to be, I think, a bit wet on Saturday. I haven't checked the forecast entirely, but
light rain.
Light rain,
Showers.
so I'm not sure who that's really going to favour. But I don't think it'll be a blowout. Certainly, North have improved drastically this year compared to where they were, given they've won multiple wooden spoons since COVID. Look, I give them every chance of breaking the Adelaide Oval hoodoo as well. It does scream danger game. We haven't been playing good at all this year. So, look, I'll stick with my prediction of us by 15 points. And hopefully, Isaac Rankin just has his 4th consecutive blinder because he could be the difference.
Yeah, 100%. Dill, what about you, Matt?
Just quickly on the rain, not a few showers. There's 7 to 15 mil on Saturday. So, bit of a piss down, I think, but that's weatherman shrimp coming through here. So cloudy with a very high chance of showers, most likely in the morning, the afternoon. All right, so just we'll keep an eye out for that. But on the Friday, there's also 3 to 15 mil, so it might be a bit of a sloppy game of football.
Yeah.
Heading back to the actual game, I think. Look, I think it depends who they tag. If they tag Rankin, I think it might be a little bit of a harder game. But if they go to Jordan Dawson will just go behind the football.
Yeah.
They won't go to 2 of them. I think it'll either be Fino Sullivan, who's been doing a good job up until last week of tagging. He was shutting boys down left, right, and centre till he broke his jaw. I think Jai Simpkin's been doing a bit of a run with role, but Simpkin won't be able to keep up with Rankin. I think if O'Sullivan goes to him, might be a bit of strife, but yeah, I think it'll be one back behind the footy. if we go forward and use the ball well, they just won't be able to compete. But if it does turn into that bit of a slog fest through the middle, I think it might be a little bit closer than what I'd like it to be. As I said last week, I still don't rate North Melbourne at all. I think they've hit a good patch of form. But it's going to come to an end at some point because I don't think they've got the mental fortitude to keep doing what they're doing. They keep getting beaten when they really shouldn't be losing, and at some point it's going to break. They're going to think we're not here for it. And a young team, I don't think they've got the mental power to do it. So I think the Crows win by 7 or 8 goals. If all things go to plan, if not maybe 4 or 5, but I don't see it going under 24 points.
Yeah, I rate it. Hopefully, I hope to God that's how it turns out. 7 or 8 goal win on Saturday would be very nice. A nice, relaxing, cruisy sort of win. But I'm probably on a similar trajectory to Matt. I would probably say, 17 points. And obviously, whatever Crows shows up on Saturday is going to tell us a lot. We'll know a lot very early on. We'll see what sort of style they're looking to play, whether it's a fast handball the ball, get the ball moving, give our forwards first sort of crack at it, or if it's just going to be that slug, kick it around the back lines, kick it down the line and just hope for the best. But I think we win. North Melbourne haven't won here, like Matt said, since 2003. So Harry Sheezel was not alive the last time that North Melbourne won against the Crows in Adelaide, which is a positive sign, and we just hope that keeps rolling on. I think we've won 8 of our last 8 in a row, I think. 8 of our last 10 and 8 in a row.
Last time we lost to North was a COVID year, and I still to this day, I've never seen highlights of that game. I was actually at North versus South, that Prospect that day, so I've never bothered rewatching.
Where was that? Was that at Carrara?
It was at Carrara. I think from memory, it was Majak Dawes' return game after everything that went down, and then I don't think he ever played. Right. I don't think he ever played again after that for North. Went to Melbourne.
Gee, that's a good pull.
So 6 years ago, that was our last loss to North, and they have had some okay performances in that time. Like last year, round 24, they only lost by 13 points. Both teams scored over 100, so they're getting closer to knocking us off, which is a bit of a worry.
Yeah, now they've had some good performances against us of late, and like last year, I remember it was a bit of a slug until late in the game, and I kind of get the feeling that it might be a bit like that this week. I think they're on a bit of a not a trot at the moment because they haven't actually won the games, but obviously only lost to Sydney by 8. They got belted by Geelong at Geelong, but there's no embarrassment in that. They should have probably beaten GWS, smacked Richmond by 75. They only lost to Brisbane by a couple of goals. They beat Carlton. They beat Essendon. They're rolling on okay, and enough that their style of game I think is enough to be just a bit of a worry and for us to be wary of it, but not unbeatable. We should still be winning this week, absolutely, but we'll see how we go. Anything you boys want to touch on before we head off?
No, I've got nothing.
No, beautiful. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Obviously, check out, so I'll be on, the Further North podcast and also Kanga TV in the coming days as well. If you want me to hear me 3 times talk about the same things, go for it. Check them out on socials. Our review of this game will be out probably Monday, maybe Tuesday. We'll see how we go. Our Proper Crows Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, anywhere you can think of, we'll be there posting about the game. Everything will be up there. Give us some feedback on the episode, on the game, whatever you're thinking. See how we go. Thank you very much, Matt, for jumping on.
No worries. Hopefully we can finally relax at an Adelaide Crows game this year.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. And Dill, thank you very much.
No worries, mate. Hopefully we win on Saturday. If not, Meltdown will ensure on the next podcast and you won't want to hear it.
Yeah, basically there'll be a lack of listeners next week if we don't get the win next week. But Fingers crossed it doesn't come to that. Get down to Adelaide Oval on Saturday afternoon. Get behind the boys. Good time in the city. Go to Tasting Australia afterwards. Make a day of it. Get around the boys and go Crow.
Go Crow.
Go Crow.
Ring the bell! The bell in the city of churches! Stand up like Matthew Nicks and rule like you never have before!
Jarman again.